an extension of what you imagine maybe the Porsche guys originally could have done. It's like the Gunter Works guys are making these, what if we made an RS out of the 993? So they're kind of, it's a what-if question, and they've executed these extremely high-performance cars, and they are little masterpieces. They're really beautiful.
Yeah, well, think of all the aftermarket and tuners and people who take 911s. You mentioned Singer earlier, Ruff and the Porsches. You know, you can do lots of things with these cars. They may be the most tuned and tweaked and customized cars ever.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the far extreme end of what Singer's doing now with their DLS. It's a $1.7 million car with a 600 horsepower air-cooled engine. It's phenomenal.
Well, that yellow number 10 open cockpit machine is our own Justin Bell. There he is, peeking out. You don't need that great big boom mic to take with you, Justin. And the car in the Hawaiian Tropic colors just pulled in next to it. That is a Porsche-powered Camel Lights machine known as a Fab car. That car was on track in the Camel Lights division of the old Camel GT IMSA series when I started my TV career. John Higgins from Ohio owns that car, and I can tell you he has a lot of fun with it. So here come the 962s. I think there's a 959 in that bunch. John Higgins, Porsche Fab car. And this, who let this guy in? Much less getting into a racing car. My goodness. It's a tremendous responsibility, and nobody knows better than Justin when you take somebody else's priceless treasure. It's a Kremer open cockpit version of the 962, I believe.
Yep. The K8.
Yep. It's the kind of car that Tom Christensen took the first of his 9 overall victories at Le Mans in. Oh, he's always directing his own shows, Justin. And since he can't talk back to us, we can make all kinds of fun of him. Oh, he even brought up balaclava. This is getting serious. Yeah. There is a rumor out there that
of that genre of the Porsche was 962s. There was one we were talking about yesterday. John Bishop wanted the car changed. Porsche fought it for quite a while. They eventually gave in, and that was the birth of the 962.
You want to, our series, our rules, said John. And he wanted the driver's feet brought back behind the center line of the front wheels for safety reasons. And so, actually, the way Porsche engineered the change was pretty ingenious. And Norbert Singer, who was a big part of that project, a development engineer for Porsche, director of racing operations, lengthening the monocoque, moving the suspension forward, changing the bodywork. If you look for a little 6 or 8 inch spacer on the bodywork just ahead of the door, you'll know you're looking at a 962.
Well,
not
the
a 959.
962 went through a few variations as well, like the 962C, and then the open cockpit car that Justin is driving here, for example. Similar, I guess, in a storyline to what happened.
Solid wall of earth. There's Justin making his way on track.
1.9 miles are able to certainly get their money's worth out of logoing up one of these race cars. There's our guy, Justin. He's climbed his way up to 13th.
We have a lot of fun with Justin, but it's worth pointing out he has a world championship on his driving resume. He has a class win at Le Mans, driving with his dad. And I'm sure he's loving every minute of this.
How could you not? Look at that thing.
Yeah.
And the open air component, too,
Yeah, he talked about
it's
that.
Really racing.
Wind buffeting your head around.
Uh-huh. It's hard to compete with motorcycles, but this comes pretty darn close.
Whoa, a little lock up there. As he makes his way through Rainy Corner. Down to turn 10. And then hard braking for turn 11.
Oh, boy. Oof. Literally hard braking.
Very hard braking.
He's having a braking issue.
That could be an adjustment. may have been why he was so late to the racetrack. He also hasn't had a lot of time in this car, we should point out. But, well, there's that expression about finding the limit by exceeding it.
Much smoother there as we go back and take a look at the issues Justin was having getting that car woed down for the corner at 11. Here it is.
Yeah, well, he's got front and rear there. I was going to say maybe they had too much front brake, but he got them all squared up there. Great way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Of course, the event continues tomorrow, and we'll be here again with you on Motor Trend On Demand.
In which motorsports aficionados who like to drive would enter, and we picked 5 winners, and they brought a guest, and we went to a racetrack like WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and they would be driven around in a stock car by Cal Petty and get in the 2-seater Indy car with Mario Andretti and Tanner Faust with his drift car, and we drove full transmission.
Wow.
So we had to do all kinds of training, and some of them just didn't go out with us because they couldn't handle a clutch and a gear shift.
Well, it's become an anti-theft device on road cars now.
It absolutely has. I can tell you from family experience, I can tell you that's true. Yep, my daughter had some kid jump into her car and try to take off in it and got absolutely nowhere because he couldn't figure out how to get to move. She got him to move.
Props for driving a manual.
Yep. That's all she's ever known.
It's fantastic.
Sorry, Leslie, I had to tell the story.
And our buddy Justin Bell, who tagged the field as they came to green, maneuvered his way through it to a 12th place finish, which will be his starting position when this field races later.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get him out of the car and talk to him, see how he enjoyed it, make sure he understands that he's buying the first round tonight because he got to drive a race car.
And all this stuff. Here comes Justin.
All those great new books out by David Hobbs and Derek Bell, Harley Haywood.
George Fulmer, I see, has one out now.
Yep. There's a new book coming out. Actually, 2 new books coming up because next year is the 50th anniversary of the International Motorsports Association. So,
and there's also a Rennsport book that's debuted here this week, and it goes back over the first 5 Porsche Rennsport events. A lot of folks picking up copies of that here this weekend.
Yeah, as Ralph mentioned earlier, there's usually 3 or 4 year gaps between Rennsport reunions. And they're usually timed to coincide with a major anniversary of some sort, like the 70th anniversary of Porsche Motorsports this year. Boy, just looking through the front of that helmet, Justin looks so much like his dad.
Well, he's taking his time. You know, you would think as a guy who's worked as a pit reporter, he'd know you have to wait on the driver. Make sure the hair's just right.
Is it me? I'm not sure. He looks happy. Give me the mic. All right, now remember.
Just burnt the front tires off. Handling-wise, like 3 laps in, I couldn't even hold it in corner. I'm on. I'm already making my excuses, guys. I told you Bells have good excuses. I was appalling. The car was great, but the experience was fantastic, and that's all I can say. I hope you're not building up that much of a sweat in the booth, Ralph and Bob, but I tell you what, just to get behind the wheel, just spin around here, and just have a look inside the car here. You'll see how absolutely basic it is compared to what we know now. We've been showing you road cars with the most extraordinary digital controls here on the steering wheel, but here all I have is literally that steering wheel, all the gauges here. I do turn it on with a key. I wasn't touching any of that. This is the button I was fighting with, trying to get brake balance. Other than that, you have a 5-speed manual here. It's like going back to your roots. Thank goodness I still remember how to heel and toe. But, you know, big thanks to the Audrain Automotive Museum for letting me have a drive in it. It was really fun, even though it was a little bit of a solo affair. I didn't even know it was the race. I just pulled out and wondered what on earth was happening. So I'm going to cool down, guys, come back out and go and find the real heroes of today.
Bassam, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, Justin was talking about the cars and how simple he felt that cockpit was today compared to the others. Well, actually, he's got his earpiece in. Okay, now you can hear us. So we got to ask you, we'll get back to this in a second, Bassam. You smoked the brakes, Justin. What was that all about?
Do you know what? We've really been struggling to find the brake balance in this car. It doesn't get driven a lot, so it's very hard with this stiff suspension to find out, and maybe the age of the tires, to find out where the brake balance is. So it was great the first 3 laps, and then the car has what, let's call it, it hunts like a dog. Isn't that what they'd say in NASCAR, Ralph? Let's just say it pushes quite formidably, and I really struggled to hold on to it. And then I think I just burned the front tires off, and then it got all nasty on me. I kept on looking in the mirrors going, now what idiot is smoking his tires like that? It was me. So I was playing with that knob there like it was the controls on my stereo. So, but you know what? In the end, it's all about fun. We showcased the car for the museum. In fact, next month in the museum on the East Coast, this car will be on display. Maybe not for my performance today, but it has, won 1995 at Daytona, so it can do it. I think it needs just a little bit of gentle sorting. You know what I mean?
Were you really frustrated, Justin, that you couldn't find your father to get your vengeance and slap the old pass on him?
What do you think, Bob? What do you think?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think I was. I just saw him pulled in here. Now I just have to hear him tell me how wonderful he is. But that's okay. I'm only in my 50th year of that. No, it was just, do you know what? The natural racing driver of a 30-year career starts taking over, and you get frustrated and a bit aggravated. And then I reminded myself that I'm actually doing this on behalf of everyone watching, just to have a great time. So I really did enjoy it.
Absolutely. You did a great job, and you can rest assured that nobody in NASCAR ever described a car pushing quite formidably.
Oh, it's because I'm eloquent.
All right, Justin, we'll see you in a little bit. Bassam, we'll get back to the question I wanted to ask you. We haven't had a chance to talk too much about the Mission E car that's here. That is the latest and greatest of all technology that Porsche is thinking about. What is your take on that vehicle?
I think it's inevitable. I think it's fantastic that Porsche sort of took the long route with this. Really R&D like crazy on it, and they did it the Porsche way. There's a temptation to jump into electric cars like boom and be competitive, but I think it's the proper.
So, Dad, how was your race? I was like the only guy in the disco.
Well, I'm sure I didn't come across you, so you must have been going reasonably well.
I was slow but alone.
I was slow and alone.
You were slow and alone. How was yours?
No, I wasn't too slow. I was just moderately alone. I got by a few at the beginning, and then I just cruised. Well, I went pretty quickly, I guess. But
where did you qualify?
I was on the 4th row, I think.
That's really good.
It wasn't bad. I didn't know I qualified there. But that was this morning, which I didn't know was qualifying. And I didn't know we were racing. I
didn't know we were racing. I pulled out of the pit lane going, why are they all bunched up coming down the start lane? The bells are not very good at... Do you know what? I was just saying to myself...
Yeah? You are not.
Oh, I'm not the organised one.
I knew.
You knew.
I knew by that point, but you were too busy filming.
I was trying to get on TV.
I know you're doing too much TV.
I know. So what you've got to think about when you're out there as those cars blast past you is you are racing one of the most legendary cars of its era.
Yes.
And a modern-day car, a relatively modern-day Porsche, went by you
like I was
as though you were in the Publix car park.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a modern-day Porsche. I say modern-day racing Porsche. Yeah. But, I mean, they're 20 years newer. This last time I sat in this was 31 years ago.
Well, then in 31 years' time, I'm sure you'll still be doing it. My dad, everybody, is the poster child for healthy living, a positive attitude, and the fountain of youth.
Oh. I don't think he's right, actually.
I haven't got it.